Halito Chimachukma, this is Chief Steve coming at y'all with another one. I just wanted to pay my honor and respect to a fellow content creator, one of the greatest authors, writers, artists to ever grace this planet, and that is Akira Toriyama. And for you guys that don't know who he was the creator of the anime series Dragon Ball, which was later his transition to Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, and just the Dragon Ball series. He is the progenitor. He is the author and creator of that series. And for those of you who do know the impact of that anime and and what it's had on an international level, you would know how important he was to, I would say, this world, but how he was just important to the world of anime and to a lot of us who grew up reading and watching his work. This was one of those unplanned events that I kind of had to take a little time off for because it hit me pretty hard when I found out the news. I found it out on X that he had passed away at the young age of 68 on March 1st. And for those of you who follow me on X, y'all have seen me, kind of venting out and, just going through my emotions and giving my homage and honor to just a fantastic person and creator, an amazing artist. And I had to do my due diligence and just show honor because he was an honorable person, and he had an imagination that was just unmatched. And his art, his artistry, his art touched me as a young kid. His art had a huge impact on my life. Especially if you look at the Dragon Ball series and just how that whole thing went down. And I could give y'all a whole thing about it, but there's so many people doing tributes and stuff that can tell you about the depth of Dragon Ball and what it meant, and the story canon and how it relates and impacts people on a real life spectrum. I mean, he was the first to ever really bring such a sincere, animated series to life. First started as a comic, well, as a manga, and it developed into an animated series, in which we call anime. And it's been 20, well over 20 years, at least for the English version, 25 years plus. And it's been around for a while, and it's had a huge impact, like I said, on me as a kid, and not only me but millions of other kids growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. It was huge, to see that transition and to just be a part of that culture. And it is amazing. It is an amazing culture. If you don't know about Dragon Ball Z, I suggest you guys get into it. Dragon Ball, start with Dragon Ball, go all the way down from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z to GT, to, you can even get into Kai, you can get into, Super, and then Daima or Daima. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but that's the last one that he created that is due to come out this year. And he created that right before, before he passed, of course. But yeah, it hits hard. You know what I mean? Like that was his last work that he put his touch on, and it'll never be another like Akira Toriyama. So I'd like to say, rest well, rest easy, because you deserve it. You know, Akira Toriyama, I really appreciate everything that you've done. We all appreciate everything that you've done. But I just wanted to share with you guys from an American Indian standpoint, because there's been some backlash on, believe it or not, in this man, in the hour of this man's death, there's been backlash towards him for being racist and being somebody that's created a racist character, or says the best, I don't know who it was on Twitter, but they got dragged real bad for saying that he created the best so-called black characters and the worst black characters. But I want you to realize that Akira Toriyama knew who we were. He knew. And it shows in this illustration, this thumbnail that I showed you guys, and this illustration right here on the left is Bora. Bora is an American Indian. He's a copper-colored Aborigine, and he was the guardian of Corin Tower, which led up to which ultimately was a tower that you had to climb if you were worthy enough. If he found you worthy enough to climb up to get to the area of which Earth's guardian Kami was, and that's what Goku, the main protagonist of the Dragon Ball series, had to climb up in order to take his martial arts to the next level, to find that training in order to beat the Red Ribbon Army and to basically save the world. But it was him. It was an American Indian that had to that basically was the gatekeeper to that knowledge. He wouldn't have got there had he had not gotten the blessing and the go-ahead from this Amerindian, which is, significantly symbolic, especially taking place in this anime universe. He knew who we were way back when. This is a guy from Japan, you know what I mean? And he knew who we were. He knew who we were before a lot of us kind of did, especially growing up back then. It was like, we weren't even thinking about that. And this, I ain't gonna lie, when I was younger, this totally went over my head, But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys what they said that, was a racist character, and he wasn't by no means. They were talking about this guy right here, Mr. Popo. And if you guys know who Mr. Popo is, you see that he's far from who we are as a person. You can even look at his skin tone. Look at his skin tone and look at the skin tone of Bora. Who looks like us? Who looks like the copper-colored Aborigines? This guy or this guy? And now a lot of people want to say, oh, he's being racist. This guy is, he's using minstrel and this and that. This is based off of, this character is based off of a Islamic jinn. Is based off of an Islamic entity. It's not even based off of so-called black people of America or so-called black people of any country. This is based off of an apparition. Something that was considered basically a spirit or whatever within an Islamic culture. But this person was ultimately the person that Goku had to learn how to basically fight, not only with his physical abilities, but with his spirit as well, to sense things on a higher level. So, without getting too much into it, I just wanted to show you guys, like, this is not, Akira Toriyama never depicted us like this. He never knew us to be something like this. This is something that you can look at it and let's see. Look and see. Look at his skin. Look at his skin and look at yours. Do you honestly think that this is what he was trying to say, what he's trying to do, when he's clearly making American Indians looking like not the Native Americans that you see today, but looking like you and I, looking like copper-colored Aborigines? Huh? Come on now. He knew. And this is, just some images, and that's his son right there. Bora's son right there on the bottom, Upa. He light skinned like his mama. But eventually, as you'll see, he grows up, and he's just as dark and copper toned as his father was. And see, and that's the thing. We all come in different shades of copper. And I don't want people to think that, oh, either got to be dark skinned, or if he's too dark or anything like that, or he's not dark enough. Or look, that's all insecurity talking. Okay, y'all need to get out of that. There's different shades of copper. But again, this brother right here ain't copper. This is just straight up black. That's Mr. Popo. He's a good, kind-hearted person in the animated series. Really good person. He's funny too. But even then, you can even see it in the series. He don't walk like us. He don't talk like us. He don't act like us. He don't sound like us. He don't vibe like us. Okay? This is more so of the rendition of us as copper-colored Aborigines. He knew who we were. The writer and creator, Akira Toriyama Sensei, knew who we were. He always knew. Okay, and he was dropping hints in his manga. He was dropping hints in his animated series of who we really were. Because he could have made him look, it could have made him look like him. You know what I mean? Let's just be real of how the Native Americans look today. They look more Mongoloid, Asiatic, Filipino type. He could have easily made him look close to him as a Native American, but that's not what he knew the copper-colored Aborigines to be. That is not what he saw. That's not what he knew. He knew us for who we were, So it's just some images here. That's Bora going against what's his name? Tao, General Tao of the Red Ribbon Army. He ultimately lost his life, and that's when Upa. And that's one thing too. If you guys watched that episode, after he had lost his life, Upa, his son, built a mound. He put him in a mound. He didn't bury him under the ground. He put him in a mound above ground as a memorial. So I encourage you guys to get into the Dragon Ball series. This is part of Dragon Ball. This is the first animated series, Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball. You guys check that out. But yeah, he's telling you right there who you guys are in the series. Mound builders. Who else puts their loved ones, significant others, those who have passed, who else buries them above ground like that look like this? The mound builders, the Mississippians, right? The copper-colored Aborigines. So, and this is Bora again, and his wife. You see, his wife is just a lighter shade of copper. And then that's little Upa when he was a baby, little infant, And even my kids came out. I'm not gonna put my kids on, on the screen or nothing, but my kids even came out looking peachy. They came out looking real peachy. And I and my wife are the darkest of copper. We're on the darker spectrum of the copper colored, spectrum. But at the same time, our kids came out peachy. They came out fair. And they eventually, their melanin, once their melanin sat in, they're starting to darkened up. They've darkened up over the years, So that's just what it is. That's what you can see in Lil Upa here. And see how Lil Upa had, looked a little more like his mama back then when he was younger. And then ultimately what he do? That melanin set in and he just as dark, if not darker than his daddy. You feel me? And that's Goku on the right there, in this Super Saiyan 4 form. But yeah, this once again, Akira Toriyama, one of the greatest, one of the most legendary, most imaginative, artistic minds to ever grace this world. And I am so glad and honored that I was able to partake and witness this man's artistic mastery. I mean, I don't, just words cannot describe the impact that he had on my life with the stories that he wrote and the stories that he told through his animations, and how, just not only for me, like I said, many of us, a lot of our dark skinned, copper colored Aborigines got into anime because of Akira Toriyama, because of the Dragon Ball series. A lot of us have, you know. He didn't make it just a Japanese thing. That's what separated him from everybody else. He was not trying to be exclusive, and he wasn't trying to be all inclusive either. He just told his story. He just put pen to paper and he just started drawing, and he just started writing. And then those who felt it, with no bias, no partiality, no kind of agenda or anything of that nature that you see in today's cartoons and animated series, he just wrote and told his story from the heart, from the soul. And those who felt it knew it. And man, it hit. It hit hard on an international level, on a world level. Who else can say that they've impacted the world like that? And the man was just so humble. The man was humble all the way till his death. I followed him on X, and I remember when people were giving him shit for basically making Daima or Daima the next Dragon Ball series that's set to come. They're basically bringing all the characters from adults back to kids, like how they started. And I think it's amazing, and it's full circle, and it's even more telling after his death, like how things just come full circle. I think it's beautiful. But people were giving him crap for it, and I was one of the few ones that stood up against that, against the ones that were talking bad against him. And I was like, hey, don't come after Toriyama. You know what I mean? Because everybody knows as much shit as they talking, they going to sit there and they're going to watch it because it's Akira Toriyama's work. And they've been waiting for something to come out. And even though it may not have been what they wanted, they knew they were going to watch it and experience it so that they can witness the greatness that is his level of work and artistry. And when he saw that, he actually liked my post. And I know I geeked out. Like, man, I geeked out for a few days. You can ask my wife. I was all the way geeked out. I was hyped because this little Japanese dude, Akira Toriyama, wherever he was at the point, at that time, took the time to see my post, have it translated by his translator, and his translator like my post, like just gave him the go ahead, like, yeah, like that. I like that. You know what I mean? That was like, that hit. You know what I mean? And there's little moments like that, and you know, seeing him post, different sketches from his book, different artists or different art and stuff, and different renditions, and liking other people's art and renditions on his page, and just sharing those moments with him on social media was an absolute honor in itself. Like, even though I was not able to meet him personally, he had a huge impact on my life. He's up there with a Kobe Bryant for me, with a Michael Jackson, with a Prince. This man is one of the greatest to ever do his thing. And so if you ever see this face right here, just know that this is the face of greatness. You know, this man was a legend, is a legend, always will be a legend. And so Akira Toriyama, rest in peace, rest easy, from Chief Steve and the family. And yeah, I just had to get this out, y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Make sure y'all like, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you're seeing this for the first time. All right, y'all. Chief Steve signing out. Tata Kista, Yakoki.